Hello Bookish friends, welcome to my March wrap-up 3. In this video I will first of all talk about the monthly statistics of March, and then I will briefly mention how I'm doing on my yearly reading challenges, as well as the books that I've read for the 2 readathons that I participated in March, which were Middle Grade March and March Mystery Madness. In the month of March, I read a total number of 17 works. I read 7 mystery, 6 general fiction, 2 fantasy, 1 historical fiction, and 1 romance. I read a total number of 3,538 pages. I read 2 works less than 100 pages, 4 works between 100 and 200 pages, 8 books between 200 and 300 pages, and 3 books between 300 and 400 pages. My average page number per book amounted to 208.12 pages. I read 1 book published in 1940s, 1 book published in 1960s, 2 books published in 1970s, 1 book published in 1980s, 1 book published in 1990s, 1 book published between the years 2000 and 2009, 6 books published in 2010s, 3 books published between the years 2020 and 2024, and 1 book published this year, 2025. I read 8 works originally written in English, 3 works each originally written in Spanish and Turkish, 2 works originally written in French, and 1 book originally written in Japanese. I read 6 translated books. I read the 3 Spanish, 1 Japanese, and 1 French book in their English edition, and 1 French book in its Turkish edition. I read 11 books targeted towards adults and 6 books targeted towards middle grade audience. I read 12 novels, 2 short story collection, 1 short story, 1 graphic novel, and 1 picture book. I read 8 ebooks, listened to 6 audiobooks, and read 3 paperbacks. I read 4 works taking place in USA, 3 books taking place in England, 2 books taking place in Turkey, 2 books taking place in Argentina, 1 book taking place in Japan, 2 works taking place in fictional world or country, 1 book taking place in France and Senegal, 1 book taking place in Argentina and USA, and 1 book taking place in Albania, Mexico, and USA. I rated 1 book 5 out of 10, 6 works 7 out of 10, 7 works 8 out of 10, 2 books 9 out of 10, and 1 book 10 out of 10. My average rating amounted to 7.71, which is a quite high rating than most of the months. For reading around the world challenge, I read books taking place in 9 different countries. Those countries were USA, England, Turkey, Argentina, Japan, France, Senegal, Albania, and Mexico. In the year 2025, I read books taking place in 21 different countries. And I added 1 new country to the map, which is Senegal. So the total number of new countries added in 2025 became 6. And the total number of countries in the map is now 58. As for Go With The Flow challenge hosted by Sarah and Jan, the prompt for March was to read a book with half the number of letters in the title of the previous books. I previously read Kamelyalı Kadın in the month of February, and there are 14 letters in that title. So I read a book with 7 letters, which was Melissa by Alex Gino. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I participated in 2 readathons. The first one was March Mystery Madness. One path was to read from different decades, and I've decided to choose 5 decades, which were 1940, 1960, 1980, 2000, and 2020s. For 1940s, I read 5 Run Away Together by Enid Blyton, For 1960s, I read The Unexpected Mrs. Pollifax by Dorothy Gilman. For 1980s, I read The Labrynth House Murders by Yukito Ayatsuji. For 2000s, I read the graphic novel version of Küçük, Domuz. For the decade of 2000s, 20s, I read two books, which were Songbird by Gail, Meath and Honolulu called Homicide by Barri Flowers. Additionally, I read two books written in 1910s, which were Betty Boo by Claudia Pineiro and A Little Luck, again by Claudia Pineiro. There were special prompts for the booktubers that we lost. In memory of Janelle, too fond of books, I read the graphic novel version of Küçük, Domuz. Janelle, a very dear friend of mine, was a big lover of Agatha Christie like myself. And for the memory of Scott at Bookish Bryant's, I read a romantic suspense book, Honolulu called Homicide by Barri Flowers. I was invited by Becky and him to do a romance readathon, so I thought it was appropriate for me to read a romantic suspense book in memory of Scott. The second readathon that I joined was middle grade March, and this time I did all of the prompts. For the prompt of author with 3 names, I read Ogre Enchanted by Gail, Carson, Levine. For the prompt of flowers on the cover, I read Melissa by Alex Gino. Although the version that I had did not have any flowers, the Chinese version had flowers on the cover. Krista said that it would be alright, so I decided to count it as that prompt. For the prompt of series, I read the Julian chapter by R.J. Palacio. For the prompt of travel, I read How to Reach the Moon by Nicholas Schaff. And last but not least, for the prompt of a book written in 1900s, I read Five Run Away Together by Enid Blyton and Paddington on Top by Micael Bond. So this was the summary of my reading in the month of March. I thought I had quite a spectacular reading month. I read very good mysteries, which is of course my favorite genre. Also had the satisfaction of doing most of the prompts for the readathon, which is something that I really like. So please comment down below what was your favorite book that you read in the month of March. Mine was The Labrynth House Murders by Yukito Ayatsuji, a great Japanese mystery novel. If you're a new viewer, first of all, welcome. Please like and subscribe. Hope to see you very soon. Bye. For Turkish word of the day, I'm going to choose Spanish. Spanish means İspanyolca in Turkish, and İspanyolca is our Turkish word of the day. Have a good day.